If you feel a little cold as we go along, it's only because we have a story to tell you.
Tonight's Inner Sanctum mystery, Death of a Doll, was written by Fred Matho and stars Haley Rutherford as Will and Kira Arthur as Bo Cousins.
This is the story of Willie Harper and the Devil, and how Willie, on his first assignment for the Morning Blade, finds himself at 2 a.m, sweating nervously in the murky shadows of a riverfront street in the lower city. Willie has a gun in his pocket and the doll that belongs to a dead girl tucked under his arm. A block away, leaning against one street, impassive, grotesque, ape-like, is the Devil, waiting for Willie.
I keep saying this is 1948, and I keep saying this is Manhattan. And I keep saying, whether you believe in the devil or not, you don't meet him until you're dead. But believe me, that's the devil, over there, under the lamp. At 3 o'clock, he's coming for me. Sure, you've got a right to think I'm crazy, standing around waiting to be killed, with a doll underneath my arm. This all started 10 days ago, around 5 in the afternoon at the city morgue. McGrundy, the night editor, sent me there on my first assignment. The morgue, he said, was a good place to start for stories.
Looks like you might be in luck soon.
How's that?
Come around the table. What's your name?
Will Harper.
All right, Willie. Come down to the coolers with me. Unless I'm very wrong, I've got a story in there for you. A girl in locker number 7. Been here 4 days. Tomorrow we close the case on her.
What does that mean, Mr. Jackson?
It means, in spite of everything the police have been able to do, they can't find out her name, where she lived, or anyone who knew her.
How was she found?
Tugboat crew fished her out of the tugboat crew fished her out of the East River. Tomorrow she goes to the city burial grounds in a plain box marked Jane Doe.
That's horrible. Just dying and nobody... Do you think she was murdered?
It's not a mark on her. Police say she wasn't, but I want you to look at her face. Tell me what you think. This is Jane Doe. See? This is where they have her. I want you to see her face, Willie. Tell me what you see in it.
A strange emotion shook me. She didn't seem dead to me. Her skin was perfect ivory. Her hair was fine spun copper. Her lips twisted slightly. I blushed and turned away, imagining to myself what those lips must have looked like with life's color in them. Jackson led me into the office without speaking. As I lit a shaky cigarette, he fished a brown paper bag out of his desk. He handed it to me, tilted it forward as he did so. Mama! What the devil?
Yep, and when they helped pull her out, she was clutching this doll close to her. Even the doll hasn't helped trace her. The police are through with it.
Mr. Jackson, you'll think I'm nuts, but I suddenly feel sore, boiling mad. I don't know why, but I think she was murdered. The look on her face.
Gonna ask you to help?
Yeah.
Dead girl nobody wants in a doll. There's a story, Willie. Too bad you didn't know her before.
Yeah, thanks.
Here, take the doll along with you.
Mama! I beat it back to the paper on fire to do a story about the dead girl and her doll. As I gave McGrunty my report, he stared at me. When I got through, he had sort of a twisted grin on his face, sort of know-it-all. He grunted and tilted the paper bag doll forward. Mama!
Think she was murdered, huh?
Yep.
The cops don't think so.
No.
They're closing her case tomorrow.
Yep.
No clues, facts, or anything outside of this doll?
None.
All right, Hopper. I'll give you another day to find the nasty character who did this horrible thing. Cops have been wrong before. Go ahead.
Thanks. I'll get a story.
Take your dolly along and keep falling for the dead ones, Harper. You're better off.
Now I know why I resented that crack of McGrunty's. He must have guessed before I did I had fallen in love with a girl in the morgue. Half-hour later, disgusted with my own morbidity, I went to my room before going out to eat. Slammed the door and tossed the doll into a chair. Mama! I couldn't shake the feeling that the nameless girl in the morgue had something to say to me. If only the doll could talk and could tell me about her. What was she like? Was her voice soft? Was she kind? Who was cruel to her? Who? Where did
Mama.
I grinned sheepishly at myself in the mirror, and with that gesture, the story really begun. The next few months remained electrifyingly vivid. I had set the doll down on the barrel and didn't touch it. Wasn't even looking at it when a new sound came from it.
Karanana. Karanana.
I stared at the crumpled, ridiculous little fool, almost afraid to touch it again. But I had to. I picked it up and tilted it limply.
Karanana.
Karanana. That was what I heard. A sound? A sound only? No. Somehow I thought it was more than a sound. A name? Maybe a name. Half because I didn't want to stay alone with the doll any longer, and half on a hunch. I stuffed the doll back in its bag and went back to the paper. I went straight to the reference room files and the doll stuffed under my arm.
What are you looking for?
I want to know if you got anything in the files on someone named Karanana, spelled with a K or a C. What's so funny? You seemed amused.
Don't tell me he's around again. If you got a lead on Karanana, you've got some story.
Oh, will you give me the clips on him?
I'll get you Maria's anthropology. I'm sure he's in there.
Anthropology? Why? Who is he?
The devil.
Karanana, of course, an almost forgotten myth from Asia. Lucifer on Earth, wearing out one body after another, walking the earth always. I remember it now from college. I decided on a long walk down Fifth Avenue, my head whirling with abandoning conflict. I think I would have given up on the whole thing then, but always at the point of going home to bed or chucking the blasted doll in a can. The face of the girl in the morgue blanked out other thoughts. When I reached Washington Square, it was dusk. The sidewalk artists were packing up their canvases, and I passed them. All but one, that is. He was a tall, angular man with a completely bald head whose 4 or 5 paintings had an advantage of streetlight. The man paid no attention to me until, at the sight of one painting, I stiffened under the shock.
What's the matter, friend? The stuff that bad?
That one. The one with the girl.
Woman with a doll, I call it. Like it?
Who's the girl? Do you know her? Tell me.
Sorry, I'm selling old paintings, friend. I'm not a dating bureau.
No, you've got me all wrong. I've got a whole reason for asking. Look, I'll prove it. Here. Isn't this the doll you painted with the girl?
Where'd you get that? I haven't seen Hazel in a week. She left for the coast. I gave her the doll to pose with. What's wrong?
Hazel is dead.
Dead? Where is she?
If I tell you, will you promise to say nothing for a while? I'm a reporter for The Blade. My name is Will Harper.
I won't say anything unless I believe you had something to do with it. Where is she?
I'll take you to her. She's at the city morgue. An hour later, we come out of the morgue. Both cousins had simply nodded at my questioning look. Seeing the girl again, knowing her name now, added to the emotion I already felt for her. I had a sudden impulse as we stood in the street. I handed the artist Hazel's doll.
Are you giving me the doll?
No, I want it back, but I want you to tilt it. Make it cry.
Karanana. Karanana.
What did that sound like to you? What did you hear?
The doll said Karanana.
You heard it too? Say it again. Say the name again. What did you hear the doll say?
I distinctly heard it say Karanana.
Then I'm not crazy. And do you know who Karanana is, Mr. Cousins?
I'm afraid I do. It's the most fantastic coincidence I've ever encountered.
Why?
Do you know who Karanana is?
The devil? Lucifer? Satan?
Quite. I think we better go to my place and talk this out. Certainly, if what I think is true, then no one will believe us.
What do you think?
That Hazel was murdered by Karanana.
I followed both cousins silently along the dark streets of the lower city. His long legs led us finally to a dingy, narrow fish-fowl street, where we climbed an outside stair to a warehouse.
You're in love with her, aren't you? An amazing circumstance to be in love with someone you met too late.
I could have loved her, yes.
I met her at the mission house, convinced the idea of painting her with the doll. Somehow it seemed right to me.
Go on.
Well, we worked here for 3 weeks on the painting. I paid her enough so that she could go to California, a dream of hers. One night as we walked the streets nearby, Karanana appeared.
Karanana?
Yes, Karanana, or a man who calls himself Karanana. The devil or the human form of the devil, however you choose to think.
There can't be such a thing. The devil is just a myth.
Is he? I met him in Istanbul 8 years ago in a cafe. I did a painting of him.
What's he like?
Squat, massive man, ape-like. As I painted him, he admitted to me such crimes I could hardly hold my brush.
Like what?
He made his living as a professional murderer, very discreetly, very cleverly, very effectively.
Why didn't you turn him in?
Ha! Really now? I like to paint and to live. He was so pleased with my picture I made and gave it to him that he told me any time I needed rid of myself of some embarrassing person, he'd be around.
Lucky you, but who'd believe that story?
We do, Willie, and that's the important thing. Do you have any spare cash?
Why?
I have around $150. If you can make up the difference, I think we can claim Hazel's body and give the child a decent burial.
I fixed it up with Jackson at the morgue at 3 p.m. Bo Cousins and I, plus 2 gravediggers in the city cemetery, were watching a bright new casket being lowered into a grave.
Man that is born of woman hath but a short time to live, and is full of misery. He cometh up and is cut down like a flower. He fleeth as it were a shadow, and never cometh in one stay. In the midst of life we are in death.
Thanks, Bo.
I liked her too, Willie, very much. You're a nice guy, Willie. Wouldn't you rather go now?
No, let's wait until she's covered over. I want to talk to you. I've just gotten an idea. I know how to get Karanana.
And I will be very glad to see that you're buried next to Hazel here.
I see things a lot clearer now that Hazel has a name and a past for me. If there is a man named Karanana, as you say, I think he's human, and that we've got an even chance.
Maybe Karanana isn't the one.
And I'll find out. In any case, you do want to help.
In any way sort of being discreetly disposed of? Yes.
Swell. Karanana said he'd do a little job for you whenever you wanted him to, right?
Yes.
Then you get in touch with him and...
Sorry, Willie, my merchant of death is unreachable. He shows up when he wants to.
Alright, I'll wait. But when he does, you've got a murder for him to do.
I have? Who?
Me. That was a week ago. An exciting week for me, covering all sorts of stuff in the paper. I'd begun thinking that Bo Cousins was an imaginative phony. Even my editor, McGrunty, had stopped kidding me about Hazel's doll perched on my desk. This morning at 9:30, I got a call. Morning, Blade. Willie Harper here.
Greetings and farewell, Willie. This is Bo Cousins.
Oh, what's up?
The devil is in town, Willie. He wants to see you.
Karanana?
Yes, I saw him last night. He was delighted to help me get rid of you.
I see.
I told him you were a reporter planning a story about art which tore my work to pieces. What's the matter, Willie? Change your mind?
No. Did he say where?
He never lets his clients in on the details, but he did say he'd be rid of you by 3 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Bo. I'll be seeing you.
Quite seriously, Willie. I hope so. Remember, bullets don't work on some things. Goodbye.
So long. By 3 this morning, he said. I didn't know where, exactly when, or if I could get the drop on the devil and force the truth about Hazel out of him. I stuffed the doll into a bag and started out, but McGrundy caught me.
Harper,
Yeah?
woman shot through the back of the head playing solitaire at I-407 Parkway North. Husband with her. Go out on it. Phone that in.
Right. When I hit the lobby downstairs, an uncountable chill got me. In the small of the back, something made me stop short and turn around. It was my first look at Karanana. He was leaning against a phone booth, a heavy-set, ill-shaped man whose arms sloped wearily around his neck into a heavy stump. He was eyeing me impassively. The game was on, I knew. I grabbed a cab to get my story just the same. I phoned the stuff in from the cigar store across the street. When I stepped out of the booth, Karanana had just bought some cigarettes. He turned to me. I froze waiting.
Some murder across the street, huh?
Yeah, how'd you know?
I get around.
Murder a hobby of yours, mister?
No, strictly business. So long.
That's the kind of thing that went on all day. McGrundy kept me on the hop, and no matter where I went, Karanana was there ahead of me. This afternoon, I got to my room long enough to pick up my Luger pistol and my license. I have to carry it. He was waiting for me when I came out.
Better put it in your inside coat pocket. It shows on your hip. Be seeing you.
It's 2:45 now, 15 minutes, and he hasn't moved from under that lamppost in 2 hours. I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting another minute. I'm going to meet the devil and have it done with him. He doesn't move. Will a bullet do it? Can I trick him in admitting Hazel's murder, or will he kill me first? Well, here I am.
Yeah, I see that. What can I do for you?
It's almost 3 o'clock.
You know, you're right. Time sure flies. Well, time for me to get on home, I guess. So long, Willie.
It's a trick. A fiend's trick. He's leaving me with only a few minutes to go. I got to stop this. I can't go through with it. I'll go to Bo's place. I'll tell him to call it off. I don't want to die.
Willie,
Bo, I was running for your place.
I thought you might be down this way. You look scared to death, and you should be, I guess.
I've got to hide, Bo. Let's beat it somewhere. It's almost 3.
All right, quick, across the street, Willie. There's a broken down pier there. It's dark here, Willie. We'll be safe for a while. You've certainly worked yourself up. Is that the doll there?
Yeah, I don't know why I carried it.
I'm glad you did. You have your gun with you?
Yeah, my Luger.
Let me have it. You're too wrought up.
Here.
Good. Now be still a moment.
It's 3 o'clock.
Yes, 3 o'clock. Time for us to part.
What do you mean?
You're not a very astute person, are you, Willie?
Why?
Maybe Hazel's doll can tell you?
Karanana.
No, Bo, this is crazy.
The same water that received Hazel is at your back, Willie. The time is 3, and tomorrow you'll be finished with the doll under your arm.
You're Karanana.
Quite. Farewell, Willie. Hazel, poor sweet child, learned the same truth by accident.
You dirty, filthy...
Karanana.
Farewell, Willie, and you shall take your...
Drop him! I said drop him!
No, I will not. Karanana never dies.
How's the head feel now, Lily?
Better, Mr. McGrunty. My professional pride hurts more.
Well, it needn't. You followed through like an old-timer, didn't he, Mr. Inspector McShay?
He'll do.
How could I have taken you for the devil, Inspector McShay?
I've been called worse.
How did you know where I was going to be through all that? Where I was going to be in the end?
Well, I covered the morgue, Willie. When an interact decides to claim a corpse, it's time to follow up on it. He seemed okay, but Cuddy turned out to be one as a professional killer.
So you tagged me to get to him.
Yeah, he was after you. There's no doubt about it. Oh, here's your doll, Willie.
Yeah. Huh. I tilt the doll and nothing happens. No sound.
It must be broke.
I guess she doesn't have to speak anymore, Miss McGrunty. I think the doll is dead.
Hey, want to buy a doll? I'll sell it to you, but there will be the devil to pay. Take a tip from Willie Harper. There is no romance at the morgue. You will only find cold, hard figures. Haha, now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a date with Hazel's doll. She promised to help me in a grave situation. I've just got to dig up something for next week's show. I think if we work hard enough, we'll turn something up. Don't you? Good night. Pleasant dreams.
This has been Fairgrounds Middle School Players, along with WSMN. Thank you for joining us. This has been Death of a Doll, produced by Mrs. G and Mrs. M, starring Haley Rutherford as Will and Kira Artor as Bo Cousins. This has been Fairgrounds Middle School Players and WSMN. Stay tuned for our Miss Brooks.
I got stuff that's gonna be hard to keep up. No, I need to see. I'm missing. You're gonna have to just.
He's gonna call you up. Pay really close attention.
It is time again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, starring Dimitri Rodriguez as Connie. While many of you like to share your Easter breakfast with your friends, Our Miss Brooks, who teaches English at Madison High School, look forward all week to sharing hers with several of her students and some of the faculty.
Some of the faculty being biology teacher Philip Boynton. Yes, Mr. Boynton is enough of the faculty for me. At least I hope he's for me. I know I'm for him. So much for the world of sports. Saturday afternoon had me making arrangements for the big day in my landlady's kitchen.
You certainly look domestic whistling on that stove, Connie. Tell me, what was it you just put into the pot of boiling water?
My thumb, Miss Davis. Oh, you mean the white thing? That was an egg. They've got to get nice and hard before we can dye them. By the way, I saw Harriet Conklin helping you with our Easter baskets before. Where did our beloved principal's daughter disappear to?
I sent her to the grocery store for some more eggs and some dye. We were running short. Harriet is certainly a sweet little girl.
Yes, she is. Just goes to show you how little there is to heredity. Let's see those Easter baskets again. Plenty of straw, jelly beans, little yellow chicks. There's just one more thing I'd like to see in each one.
What's that, Connie?
Chocolate bunny with a $1,000 bill in his mouth.
I'm afraid that's asking a little too much.
All right then. I'll settle for a wax bunny.
I'm back, Mrs. Davis. Hi, Miss Brooks.
Hello, Harriet. Did you get the stuff?
Yes, ma'am. Here's the dye, and I got a couple of dozen eggs.
Good. Let's put some more of these into boil.
I'll do it. What's the schedule for tomorrow, Miss Brooks? When do you want us to come for breakfast?
Oh, about 10 o'clock will be fine, Harriet. Then we'll all be on time for the Easter parade.
I'll bet you look stunning, Miss Brooks. What kind of an outfit are you wearing this year?
Well, in some ways, it's quite similar to the outfit I wore last Easter.
How do you mean, Miss Brooks?
Same hat, coat, dress, and shoes. I did invest in something new, though. A Gossard narrow line girdle.
Does it really make you look narrow, Connie?
Narrow? When I stand sideways, you can't see me at all, I'd like to think.
Oh, that reminds me. I'd better get over to the cleaners and pick up Daddy's Easter outfit. You know how meticulous he is when he appears in public.
He's not only meticulous, he's impeccable.
He's not only impeccable, he's impossible. I mean, impatient. So you better run along now, Harriet.
Okay, Miss Brooks. See you tomorrow. Bye, Mrs. Davis.
Goodbye, dear, and thanks for the help. Now, you'll probably want to wash up after you mix that dye, Connie. So I'll get you some clean towels from the pantry sink.
Thanks, Miss Davis. Come on in. The door's open.
It is I, Miss Brooks, your own personal Easter bunny.
At last. Just drop the $1,000 bills in the basket. It's Walter Denton.
Tell me I'm in time, Miss Brooks. Tell me you didn't dye your eggs yet.
You're in time, Walter. I didn't dye my eggs yet.
Thank goodness, Miss Brooks. Just before the holidays, I hit on a new dye in the chem lab at school. That's absolutely sensational.
A new dye?
Yes, ma'am. That's why I'm so glad you didn't color your eggs yet. I want you to do it with my stuff. It's absolutely dynamite.
Walter, I just want the eggs to look pretty, not blow up.
Miss Brooks, wait till you get a load of this stuff. It will revolutionize the egg dyeing industries. I'll make millions out of this. Billions. And you, Miss Brooks, will get my everlasting gratefulness.
That's my usual cut.
I call this magic dye Tint Tomorrow.
Tint tomorrow?
Yes, I took 2 words, tint and tomorrow, and made a word marriage out of it.
Well, I hope they'll be very happy together. Just how does this stuff work, Walter?
Well, it's powder, Miss Brooks, but it's a delayed action powder. In other words, when you dye an egg with Tint Tomorrow, no color change takes place at all today.
Doesn't?
Naturally not. It takes its tint tomorrow. See, that's why I call it Tint Tomorrow.
That was fun. What do we do now?
I brought over these sample eggs I dyed yesterday, Miss Brooks. Look, red, blue, green, purple. Aren't they beautiful?
They are nice, Walter. Very brilliant. Is this invention of yours easy to apply?
Oh, easier than the old-fashioned stuff. These 2 bags will dye 12 eggs each. And now, look, I got to get downtown an errand for my folks, so I'll just leave these 4 extra bags by your pantry sink.
Well, I'll certainly be happy to try it, Walter.
Remember, Miss Brooks, I haven't got this invention patented yet, so you mustn't breathe a word about it. In fact, I must insist on an oath of secrecy.
Walter, I won't even tell the eggs.
Here are the clean towels, Connie. I'd come back sooner, but I was on the phone with Mrs. Conklin. She's got a problem. Poor dear.
I know. I work for him.
Oh, I don't mean Mr. Conklin. She's worried about parading in the sun tomorrow morning. She says she gets a lot of freckles that way.
Well, that's as good a way as any. What do you recommend?
Some of this remarkable face cream I got at the Purely Parlor last week. It's called Freckle Off.
Freckle Off? This is a big day for me. First Tint Tomorrow, then Freckle Off. Tint Tomorrow and Freckle Off. It sounds like a Polish piano team.
Here, let me rub a little on your chin, dear.
Oh, but Miss Davis,
It'll do you a word of good. Just this one little dab. There.
I was about to tell you, I don't have any freckles on my chin.
I can see that. But isn't it comforting to know you'll never have any?
It's a security I've never dreamt of. Miss Davis, would you mind taking these baskets into the living room? I've still got some work to do in here.
Certainly, dear. Oh, look who's coming down the driveway, Connie. It's one of your pupils, Stretch Snodgrass.
Oh, you mean the brain?
The brain? What do you call him that?
I keep hoping that if I just say the word often enough, he'll grow one.
I'll go finish decorating the living room, Connie.
All right, Miss Davis. I'm in the kitchen, Stretch.
Hi, Miss Brooks.
Hello, Stretch.
Well, the reason I come over, Miss Brooks, is I brought you something.
Stretch, you brought me something.
You see it through the window, huh?
No, Stretch. I saw it through the window.
Oh, then you know what I bring?
I bring...
That's a Passepartout pant of Hasbro.
I forgot. What sort of thing did you bring? Sing. Let's see it.
It's right in the basket. See? A rabbit.
But it's a real one. Is he alive?
Oh, of course not. I brought him over from my father's pet shop. He's been preserved.
You mean you mounted it?
No. I rode him over on my bicycle.
But Stretch, what am I supposed to do with a stuffed animal?
Oh, I thought I'd make a nice centerpiece for your table tomorrow morning.
Oh.
If I say so myself, this is quite a good example of taxi.
Well, You never can get one when it's raining. Well, thanks for the rabbit stretch. It was very sweet of you to bring it. But before you go, what is that big smudge on your face?
Oh, that's from falling off my bike. I guess I took a shortcut through the middle.
Well, there's a sink in the pantry. You can wash in there. Here, take these towels in with you.
Towels? Ain't you got no shower curtain?
We use towels here. It's a new fad. And Stretch, if the soap dispenser's empty, you'll find some powder to fill it with in the cupboard.
Okay, Miss Brooks.
I've got to carry these empty eggs boxes out to the incinerator, Stretch. See you later.
Nice little pantry. I guess this thing in a soap dispenser. All right, let's see now. Where's the powder? I'm supposed to fill it with. Oh, it must be the 4 little bags. It says Tint Tomorrow. That's a fine name for a soap powder. Well, I guess I'll just dump them all in the dispenser. Now I'll fill the sink with enough water to wash up with. That ought to do it.
Well, the front part of the house is all set, Connie. Everything back here all right?
Everything but me, Miss Davis. I've got the strangest burning sensation around my chin.
Oh, that's where I applied the freckle off. It says on the bottle that if yours is the type of skin that burns easily, you should wash the cream off with soap and water.
Now she tells me. I'll use the sink in the pantry.
I'm all finished, Miss Brooks. Here's your towel back. I didn't need them.
You didn't need them. But you washed, didn't you?
Well, what's the sense of wearing a long sleeve shirt if you don't use the long sleeves?
Well taken point. Now, if you'll excuse me, Stretch, I've got to stop this singing on my chin some way.
I got some smudges out of the incinerator too. I might as well do a complete wash job.
Here goes. Dun.
Gosh, Miss Brooks, if my face was as pretty as yours, I'd never wash it. Boy, I bet you're going to be the swellest lady in the Easter parade.
Oh, I don't care about that, Stretch. All I want to do is right in the corner where I am.
Well, even if Stretch Snodgrass isn't the most brilliant person in the world, Miss Brooks, who has also washed her face in Walter's dye, might easily attain that title. However, since the dye, which is still in the dispenser, requires hours of imposure before it works, Miss Brooks didn't know on Saturday afternoon what a colorful Easter she was facing.
Will you answer the doorbell, Connie? I'm just getting out of the tub.
All right, Miss Davis. I'll get it. Well, Mr. Conklin.
Hello, Miss Brooks.
To what fortuitous circumstance do we owe the pleasure of this visit from Madison's distinguished principal?
This is Saturday, Miss Brooks. You can cut down on the apple polishing. May I come in?
Of course.
Now then, as the purpose of my visit, with your permission, I'll come right to the point.
Permission granted.
Thank you. As you know, the Easter parade tomorrow will be covered thoroughly by press photographers.
Yes, I know. The photographers will greet us, and we'll find ourselves in the rotogravure.
Very catchy. In the past, I've always been quite careful about which profile to present to the camera while having my picture taken. But in the parade, one never knows which side a photographer will pop up.
And when they look you over, you will be in clover.
Stop that. The reason I'm here, Miss Brooks, is because of this large ugly freckle on my right cheek. I've always resented this freckle, Miss Brooks, but it's the only blemish on an otherwise perfectly chiseled set of features.
Oh, you shouldn't be too self-conscious about it, Mr. Conklin. I've never thought of that as such a large, ugly freckle. I've always thought it was a dimple.
A dimple? Well...
Yes, indeed. Many's a time I've looked at you and thought, what a large, ugly dimple.
Such honesty deserves a reward. And I will see that you get it in the school weeks to follow. Right now, I'd like to inquire about a cosmetic that my wife mentioned. She said Miss Davis told her about it. It's called Freckle-Off, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's it. But, Mr. Conklin, sometimes it. What will say that would just be the thing for you.
Well, dear, I finished the whole Osgood.
Hello, Margaret.
Mr. Conklin was wondering if he could borrow some of your freckle-off cream, Miss Davis.
What for?
For his freckle.
What freckle?
This large, ugly one beneath my right ear.
Oh, that. I always thought that was a beauty mark.
A beauty mark? Well,
Yes, many's the time I thought to myself, what a large, ugly beauty mark. But I've got a jar of that cream right here on the table. Osgood, you're welcome to try it.
Here, let me dab it on for you, Mr. Conklin. There we are.
say, this stuff burns. Ow, it's hot. Oh, it's hot.
Well, you wanted to remove the freckle, don't you?
Yes, but I would like it to leave the face.
Why? I mean, if it burns too badly, you can wash it off with soap and water. Just follow me, Mr. Conklin.
Hurry up. This is awful.
There's a sink right out here in the pantry. I'll fill the basin for you. You'll find soap in the dispenser above the sink.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Conklin. There's somebody at the front door.
Oh, hello, Miss Brooks. My car broke down a few blocks from here. I wonder if I could use your phone to call a garage.
Oh, of course, Mr. Boynton. Come in.
I was driving along, not a care in the world, when suddenly, boom, the transmission, the crankcase, and the drive shaft fell out.
Anything serious?
I'll say it is. The car won't go at all until that.
Oh, I'll be running along down this Brooks. Oh, hello, Boynton.
Oh, hello, Mr. Conklin. What brings you to this part of the town?
Oh, it's a long and harrowing tale, Boynton, but briefly, your friend Miss Brooks almost burned half of my face off with this alleged freckle remover.
What did you want with freckle remover, Mr. Conklin?
Well, I thought I could remove this large, ugly freckle beneath my right ear.
You're right. Well, I always thought that was just a mole.
A mole?
Yes, sir. Many's the time I've thought to myself, what a large, ugly...
Oh, be quiet! Good day to you both.
Oh, Miss Brooks, before I use the phone, I'd like to wash some of the grease off my hand and face. I got pretty dirty tinkering around with the car.
Why, I didn't even notice it. But if you just follow me, Mr. Boynton, you can use the sink in our pantry. There's plenty of soap in that dispenser between the taps. Just help yourself.
Oh, thanks. This ought to do the trick.
We're going to have our Easter breakfast tomorrow about 10 o'clock, Mr. Boynton. Will that be all right for you?
Easter breakfast? Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Miss Brooks. That's the reason I drove over to tell you I can't make it tomorrow.
Can't make it? Why not?
Well, I got a wire from my folks this morning. They're visiting friends at Eagle Springs, and they asked me to join them. It's only 40 miles from here, and I thought I'd drive up in the morning. Of course, that's out of the question. It'll take days to fix that car of mine.
Good.
But I can catch an early train. Now, tell you what. Maybe I can borrow Miss Davis's car, and you could drive me to the station in the morning?
What have I done to earn such a bonus?
For those of us who arose on time, the Easter Sunday sunrise was an awe-inspiring sight, and in Walter Denton's house, where his pal Stretch Snodgrass had his permission to spend the night, is another awe-inspiring sight. Stretch Snodgrass.
Walter? Hey, Walter, are you up?
Yeah, I'm up, and let's get dressed and
What's wrong with you?
well, nothing's wrong with me. It's you. Look at your face. Looks like an Easter egg.
Easter egg? Why would you say such a thing like that?
Because you're all purple. Your whole face
Oh, what's so funny? Maybe I got high blood pressure.
looks more like you used my delayed action dye of mine.
Die?
Yeah, I've been keeping it a secret. I call it tint tomorrow because the color doesn't show up till the next day.
Tint tomorrow? I thought that was a soap powder. Oh, I filled the dispenser at Miss Davis's with it.
Yeah, well, what? Oh gosh, I better get over there and warn Miss Davis before anyone else uses it.
Wait a minute. What about me? How am I supposed to get this purple stuff off?
Oh, quit worrying. I'll invent some way to get rid of it. And even if I don't,
Yeah?
I can always dye you another color. So you see, Miss Davis, Stretch filled the dispenser with dye, and anyone who washes there is in for a shock today. Gee, I'm glad you didn't get any on you.
Me too. And I hope Connie didn't use it. She's going to take Mr. Boyden to the train this morning. She should be coming in for coffee any minute now.
Gosh, I hope everything's all...
I've just got time for a quick cup of coffee. Oh, hello, Walter.
Hello, Miss... Ah!
What is the trouble?
Nothing, dear. You just startled us when you came in so suddenly.
Oh, I'll get myself a cup and saucer out of the sideboard.
Look at her, Miss Davis. Her face is all green.
I know, but just don't blurt it out at her. We'll break it to her gently. Just scoop chicken in it.
Say, it's after 8. I better drink this coffee in a hurry. Mr. Boynton's making a 9:15 train.
Where's he going?
He's going to spend the day at Eagle Springs with his parents, and I don't mind telling you, I'm green with envy.
Walter, control yourself. I'll get a dish rag and... Oh, will you get that, please, Connie?
All right. Hello, Miss Brooks speaking.
Miss Brooks, this is Mr. Conklin.
Oh, happy Easter, Mr. Conklin. I guess you're getting all dolled up.
Cut the gap. Just answer one question, Miss Brooks. What sort of dye was in that witch's brew you smeared on my face yesterday?
Witch's brew? Which witch's brew?
You know very well which witch's brew. Freckle-removing junk put on me.
But there's no dye in that.
Well, there must have been. You should see my face this morning.
You mean it's a different color?
Different color? Miss Brooks, I'm glad. Thanks to you and your quack remedies, I look like an Italian sunset.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Conklin. I didn't have any knowledge of any dye in this.
You never have any knowledge of anything. Now hang up. I'm gonna call my doctor and get to the bottom of this goop.
Goodbye. Well, what do you know about that, Walter? Mr. Conklin's face has turned all colors of the rainbow.
Well, excuse me, Miss Brooks. I must have been thinking of something comical. I better join Miss Davis in the dish rag in the kitchen. Miss Davis, that was Mr. Conklin on the phone. He just turned plaid.
Oh, this is terrible, Walter. How are we going to get this dye off the people who washed her yesterday?
Well, I stopped at the drugstore on my way over, and Mr. Miller, the pharmacist, said he'd try and figure out something in a hurry.
Well, at least there's some hope. Now maybe it won't be such a shock when you tell Connie her face is green.
Me? I think I better go home, Miss Davis.
What's the matter, Walter? Don't you feel well?
I feel like she looks. I guess the only manly thing to do is face the music.
Come on, I'll help you break it to her in a roundabout way. Oh, Connie, about that green face of yours. Connie? Connie? Oh, she must have laughed while we were in the kitchen. Good heavens. What will Mr. Boynton think when he sees her?
Who knows? Maybe it'd be a break for her. He's always been crazy about frogs.
Coming.
Good morning, Mr.
Ah!
Mr. Boynton, what happened to your face? It's blue.
Yes, isn't it awful? I noticed it when I went in to shave this morning. When did you notice your face was green?
Huh?
Well, now it's not a really bad shade of green.
My face?
Well, here. Stand in front of this mirror.
Yeah,
Calm yourself, Miss Brooks. I kind of like it. It reminds me of my pet frog, McDougal.
Thanks a million. How did it get this on me?
Well, Walter Denton phoned me a few minutes ago and explained the whole thing. His pal Stretch put some of Walter's delayed dye into the soap dispenser in your pantry yesterday.
You mean the tint tomorrow really worked?
I'll say it did. It won't even come off with soap and water, even turpentine. I've tried several times.
Oh, just wait till I get a hold of that stretched snodgrass.
I'm in a worse spot than you are, Miss Brooks. I had to cancel my trip to Eagle Springs.
Good old Stretch. But if you're not going away today, how about coming over to my place?
Oh, no, I wouldn't budge out of this apartment with this blue face, Miss Brooks. No, I'm just going to have to stay in until it fades. I guess it's an imposition to ask, but, well, I thought maybe I could fix up a little lunch here and play some records to dance to. And, well, if it isn't asking too much, would you care to stay here and keep me company?
I'll force myself.
Good, I'll go into the kitchen and see about rustling up some grub. Just make yourself comfortable.
Oh, don't worry about green face, blue face. I'll be fine. I'll get it.
Don't slap me, Miss Brooks. Everything's gonna be fine.
You're so right, Walter. Goodbye.
No, wait. Mr. Boynton told me on the phone about canceling his trip. Now he won't have to.
Oh, not so loud. What do you mean, Walter?
Well, Mr. Miller, the pharmacist, came up with these pills. You just dissolve them in warm water and the dye washes off like magic.
Oh, it does it? Hand them over, Walter. I'll take them in.
Okay, Miss Brooks, I'm sorry for what Stretch did. I imagine I'll see you later on.
Far be it from me to knock a boy's imagination. Goodbye, Walter.
I'm just putting on a timely recording, Miss Brooks. You care to dance, Miss Brooks?
Mm-mm.
Am I holding you too tight? Mind if I hum in your ear? Who was that at the door just now?
The door?
Oh yeah, the bell rang as I went into the kitchen. Who was it?
Oh, nobody we know. Happy Easter, Mr. Boynton.
Our Miss Brooks was presented to you by Fairgrounds Middle School Players and WSMN.
Tonight, starring Dimitri Rodriguez as Connie, Tara Chow as Harriet Conklin, Gianna McGillick as Walter Denton, Mayori Navarrete as Mrs. Davis, Will Deacon as Philip Boynton, Joshua McGillick as Osgood Conklin, Evelyn Simons as Stretch Snodgrass.
Tonight's shows were produced by Mrs. G and Mrs. M. Music by Mrs. I, and tech and audio by Mr. G.
Special thank you to Miss Coffee for always supporting us. We hope you enjoyed our remakes of old-time radio shows. Thank you for listening. This has been Rose White and Eric Picanso, your announcers. Good night.
The lesbian kiss among cartoon characters. And then, of course, the replacing of Tim Allen from the movie. And then Dave Chappelle said something that was pretty interesting, too. Remember, Dave Chappelle got all this blowback because he made trans jokes. And then Netflix, the employees there walked out. They were all offended. They were all upset. Do you know that Dave Chappelle's comedy special on Netflix is one of the highest viewed shows in all of Netflix history? That's right. One of the highest viewed shows. So you see, the woke employees at Netflix actually helped propel Dave Chappelle. The woke employees at Disney actually helped kill Lightyear in two ways. Number one, by getting rid of Tim Allen. You cannot convince me that was not done because of Tim Allen's politics. And you like Trump. And by all accounts, although Tim Allen doesn't get overtly political, but by all accounts, he's definitely on probably our side of the aisle versus their side of the aisle. And then, of course, by injecting this element of having this same-sex storyline within the movie Lightyear, and it's not that it's even that as much as it's just more about the agenda of it. And parents just don't want to deal with it. They want to just go to a movie and just be able to relax and not think about things, and even have to answer questions on the ride home, like, "Mommy, I don't understand. How come she was married to another mommy?" It's just, you just don't want to deal with it on the car ride with a kids movie. I mean, there's more than enough occasions for that stuff to come up when it doesn't have to be in an animated cartoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, for one quick moment, I would like to announce that the Fairgrounds Middle School is holding a drama summer camp from June 27th to August 8th and August 11th to August 22nd. This will be held at the Fairgrounds Middle School for any kids that are currently in 5th to 8th grade. We will come learn different aspects of drama in a fun environment. You'll learn different stage directions, lighting, and sounds for plays. There will be 2 sessions that I have named. They will both be in the morning time. The registration is $200 per session, minimum 10 kids, and you can contact Tracy G at GROSVENOR capital T at nashua.edu and phone number at 603-930-8157. And again, 603-930-8157. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Special thank you to Matthew White at liquidSomething.com for sponsoring our radio shows.
You'll sometimes help the opposition. You'll help the very target of your wokeness. You'll help the enemy of your wokeness. You will. You'll build that person up. I mean, it worked for Dave Chappelle in so many different ways. And it's like when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, too, the same thing happened. Suddenly, ticket sales for Chris Rock went through the roof. They did. They started because people, I want to see him. I want to see him now. I want to be there. And there's apparently a tour that's going to be happening with Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle together. That will be outstanding. That will be something that is really special to see right there. And you're going to want to see that. So we got a lot more to talk about here on the Dana Show this afternoon. Don't worry. We're just scratching the surface of this. And yes, there'll be another hearing of the January 6th committee that will be coming out momentarily starting at 1 p.m. What will they find? And more details are coming out about the response in Uvalde, Texas. Just so heartbreaking what occurred there. As Texas police commander says officers